Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about the Sniper class in Space Marine 2 and everything you need to know about his strengths, weaknesses, and gameplay loop, so that by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of the class, whether you're a new player or a veteran in the game. In Warhammer 40k, the Sniper, otherwise known as a Vanguard Eliminator, is the dedicated marksman of a Primaris Eliminator squad, well known for their use of stealth camo cloaks and hunting down enemy targets from long range. They also use the same Mark X Phobos armor of the standard Vanguard Infiltrator, which they strip down even further, so they can be even more discreet on the battlefield. In Space Marine 2, their light armor is also represented in-game, with the Sniper only having access to 2 max armor segments as opposed to the 3 on standard classes like Tactical or Assault. The major strengths of these snipers is their ability to dish out tremendous single target damage with high-powered weapons like the Bolt Sniper Rifle, able to outright one-shot some of the most annoying enemies in the game like Zoanthropes with range fire, or deal over half a boss's health bar with a single strike of their combat knife with the proper setup. The Sniper also has a really easy time disengaging combat and repositioning thanks to their Camo Cloak, which despite their low armor value actually makes them one of the most survivable classes in Space Marine 2. As you'd expect of a sniper, there was a heavy emphasis on headshot damage of this class. This is further enhanced with your starting perk that grants you 10% bonus headshot damage. And the most fundamental part of this class to actually keep you alive and pull off your full damage potential is your class ability, the Camo Cloak. Using this will make you turn invisible and break all enemy aggro, allowing you to more easily set up headshots or explosives. And the first attack that you do in Camo Cloak will deal 25% more damage, but will also break your Camo Cloak and immediately put the ability on cooldown. The full duration of your Camo Cloak is 10 seconds long with a base cooldown of 90 seconds, which can very easily be shortened with perk effects like Squad Renewal that give you 10% of your cooldown back per headshot kill. In fact, the Camo Cloak is one of the easiest abilities in the game that puts you on a near infinite loop in some circumstances, since you can activate the cloak and immediately exit with a melee or ranged attack, all while benefiting from the aggro disengagement or even brief periods of lingering cloak and invulnerability with perks like Emperor's Grace and lingering concealment. This was actually such a powerful tool, they did nerf the ability to instantly cancel your cloak after a single melee attack, and the way it works now is that the first 3 times you use your Camo Cloak and instantly break with a melee attack, it will cost you no extra energy, but the 4th time will cost you 5% energy immediately on use, and it gets a little higher every subsequent use. However, this extra Camo Cloak tax will reset after 10 seconds of not using your cloak, and for general gameplay as a sniper for most players, this will never be an issue and is really only there for players who are looking to min-max cheese their operation. The Camo Cloak is still one of the most useful abilities in Space Marine 2 for survival, since with the proper perk combo like Emperor's Grace and Purification, one use of your Camo Cloak can give you back your entire contested health bar, remove every negative sass effect, and simultaneously make you invulnerable to all damage and knockback for 2 seconds. Just keep in mind that when you are cloaked, you can still take damage, and even though enemies won't directly target you, they might target your teammates or put down area hazards that can still be a huge problem. But this does bring me to the weapon selection of the sniper class, which to no surprise has a huge emphasis on sniper rifles, with unique weaponry like the Last Fusel and Bolt Sniper. Now, despite being a sniper, you also have access to close range primary weapons like the Instigator and Standard Bolt Carbine, which can actually make you an incredibly dominant force in melee range, and you also have access to most of the secondary weapons in Space Marine 2, with things like the Heavy Bolt Pistol and even the Inferno Pistol. And while you only have access to a combat knife on the sniper currently, this is also really the only melee weapon you would ever need on this class, since Space Marine 2's heroic combat knife variants are 2 of the strongest melee weapons in the game for any playstyle, and the Power Gladius lets you do ridiculous amounts of single target damage to bosses when combined with your Tactical Ambush perk, and the Argent Edge can make the sniper a significantly safer class to play thanks to its ability to damage enemies on parry and also stagger enemies for a gun strike on the first parry in a combo chain every single time. And purchasing either one of these in the Heroic store will give you access to a top tier melee option for your entire leveling experience, since heroic weapons can still be used even if you have not leveled the original weapon type once you've actually purchased them. Now, the main downside of the sniper class is that you are not incredible at mass horde clear compared to classes like heavy or tactical or even the tech marine, since most of his weapons are based around single target damage, which is to be expected since that is kind of the whole point of a sniper class in the first place, but you can kind of circumvent your lack of AoE horde clear with one of the strongest sniper perks, which is Pattern of Excellence. This will give you back an equipment on a 30-second cooldown if you perform 3 consecutive headshots, which basically puts you into the ultimate loop of mass destruction if you find a melt-a-bomb in your map or purchase one from the Siege Mode requisition terminal. Since 30-second melt-a-bombs are as good as they sound, and being able to one-shot multiple extremis on repeat is a damn useful tool. Now, the 3 consecutive headshots can be performed on different enemies rather than just a single target, and weapons like the Heroic Bolt Pistol or Instigator Carbine that fire and burst will trigger this perk on a single burst if all the shots hit. hit. And even when a Biovore is planted with their faceplate or there's a Bone Sword Warrior blocking, you will still be able to trigger this perk if you shoot their head area, even though the shots will do no damage. One other thing to keep in mind with the Sniper class is that, like Tech Marine, you have a longer knockdown time once fully knocked over before you actually get back up. And this can get you staggered to death since both the Tech Marine and Sniper are tied for the lowest HP total in the game, but as a Sniper, you do have a far easier time recovering from health loss and purification and damage reduction perks like Conviction that will make you significantly tankier than you might expect. And when it comes to general tips on the Sniper class, your job is really that of a special killer, especially if you're using weapons like the Bolt Sniper, since your melee teammates like Assault and Bulwark have a significantly harder time dealing with things like Zoanthropes than you do, and you are especially suited to boss killing with things like your Power Gladius if you stack enough perfect dodge charges, or your long range options that can absolutely trivialize a Neurothrope for you and your teammates. Just don't be the Sniper in your game that's busy staring at the floor when there are actually Zoanthropes about, as getting rid of these guys for your teammates is what your class does best. And also don't be the Sniper that endlessly frag spams his teammates during a boss spawn, because frag grenades do next to no damage to bosses, but they will stagger your teammates, which can wind up getting them caught in enemy attacks. The truth is that the Sniper really does not have that many downsides, and his worst aspects really just come down to general horde clear speed, rather than the ability to kill a horde itself. And some of his weapons can be a bit unforgiving on Chaos, since their headshot hitboxes are far more obnoxious for single shot weapons like the Stalker Bolt Rifle and Bolt Sniper. So if you're going against those factions and find yourself struggling, taking close range automatic weapons like the Bolt Carbine can be a great option to improve your experience against the Thousand Suns. And that is the general overview of the Sniper class, and now it is time to go into a full perk tree breakdown, my opinion on what perks I think are best and which ones kind of suck. And this brings us to the Sniper perk tree breakdown. Now the Sniper has quite a few powerful options to him. We're going through all of them here today, starting off with the perk Block Break. Shots will penetrate enemy block stances, dealing 50% of the usual damage. This perk is okay. I don't hate it. The big issue I have with this perk though is that you don't actually trigger headshot multiplier buffs through like the block break trigger, and usually this class is all about headshots anyways, but sometimes it can help you pick up breakpoints or just be able to kill a sword warrior or a biovore with like through the little head plate, and because of that it's an okay option for certain sniper builds. Next perk here is a Melee Mastery. Melee damage increases by 20% against Majoris and higher enemies. Now, this is a 20% multiplicative melee damage buff. It is much better than the one on Vanguard, and honestly, it's like my preferred pick in this whole column here because the melee damage on Sniper is actually quite high, and this perk makes it even higher. Next perk here is a Medicae Adept. You revive squad members 30% faster. This perk kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you really do not need this on Sniper ever. I would definitely take both of these options over this one, because usually on Sniper, if you need to revive somebody, you're just gonna Camo Cloak and get them back up anyways. And Camo Cloak also had a base cooldown buff in like patch 12 at some point, and for that reason, you really do not need this. The next perk here is High Capacity. The maximum amount of ammo you can carry increases by 10%. The only reason I ever take this perk is to get extra triggers on things like Versatile Precision. This gives you a 15% primary weapon ammo restore on a secondary weapon kill, and because of that, if your base capacity is higher, occasionally you can get like a 1 extra shot from this, but usually I do just skip over this perk. For the next perk, which is Vantage Point. Remaining stationary for 2 seconds increases your ranged weapons damage by 20%. This is actually pretty nice these days because, number one, they actually buffed up the Camo Cloak cooldown, or I should say made it reduced to 90 seconds from like 120, and because of that you can take a lingering concealment here for an additional 2 seconds of Cloak on Camo Cloak break and immediately trigger this and immediately have your Camo Cloak back up to do it all over again. A lot of builds. So really good for that. And a 20% buff here, even though you have to remain stationary for 2 seconds, is actually quite strong at times. Though if you don't want this one, I would take the next perk here, which is Adaptability. Reloading while having low ammo or manually activating Camo Cloak increases melee damage by 25% for 10 seconds. Now, on the Sniper class, you will be using your Camo Cloak all the damn time, and you'll be reloading at low ammo all the damn time as well. This is pretty much up 24/7, and a 25% buff for 10 seconds is a pretty chunky damage buff for a fairly long uptime. Next perk here is Iron Grip. Weapon spread and recoil reduced by 20%, and range damage against terminus level enemies is increased by 15% for both sniper rifles and stalker bolt rifles. You know, the thing about this column here is that if you're taking a bolt sniper or stalker bolt rifle, you just take this perk because the other two do literally nothing for you. And the next perk is the same way with Dexterous Hands. Bolt carbines reload 20% faster, and their weapon spread and recoil reduced by 15%. If you aren't using a bolt carbine, these two will do nothing for you, so just take this with bolt carbines, and this one is for the last fusel here. Lethal efficiency, killing more than one enemy with one shot from a last fusel, which was charged by one. So if you're taking the last fusel sniper rifle, you just pick up this perk, and that's pretty much all there is for the core perk tree. The next perk here is marksmanship. Headshot damage increases by 10% for all team members. I actually like this perk quite a bit. It does help out with breakpoints on some of the weapons like the bolt sniper rifle and stalker bolt rifle. Though if you do pick this one up, I would pretty much always pick up the perk down here, renewal, because you are missing out on a camo cloak charge restore because you cannot pick up the perk here, squad renewal. I'll get into in a second. Next perk here is precision targeting. Weapon spread is reduced by 25%, and range damage against extremis and terminus level enemies is increased by 15% for all team members. I don't take this one too often. I mean, a 15% buff against extremis and terminus is nice, but the weapon spread reduction is not super good, and usually I find myself taking marksmanship or the perk here, squad renewal. But for this perk, it's not like the worst thing ever. It's just not as good as these, in my opinion. Next perk here is a squad renewal. A headshot kill restores ability charged by 10% for any team member. This is one of the best team perks in the whole game for anyone using a bolter weapon, because a 10% charge on like a Hormigaunt kill every single time, or like a Zangor or even a cultist, is very, very strong for you and your teammates. As also enables your camo cloak to function way better on pretty much any build that's not taking the perk here renewal. So for that reason, I would definitely pick this one up pretty often. Next perk here is also God tier. This is Purification. Manually activating Camo Cloak removes negative stats effects and restores all contested health. You will pretty much always pick this up on a squad renewal build unless you really want to have like a double charge, because getting CHP back on every Camo Cloak is just a godly effect, and the removing negative stats effects just like a little added bonus to this, and having that instant CHP restore makes the sniper incredibly easy to play around with, so a really good perk. Next perk here is Efficient Readiness. Camo Cloak increases movement speed by 20%, and manually activating Camo Cloak reloads ranged weapons. This effect lasts 5 seconds after deactivation. This perk got buffed up to have that 5-second lingering effect. It is still not that strong, and the main reason this perk kind of sucks is because you are giving up Purification, which is God tier, and the perk down here, Renewal, which is also a top tier effect if you're taking marksmanship or precision targeting. So usually you do skip over this one, even on like bolt carbine builds. And the next perk here, Renewal, a headshot kill restores Camo Cloak's charge by 15%. It's just a better version of a squad renewal, it just only works for yourself. So this is also a top tier effect. Next perk here is Guardian Protocol. After you revive a squad member, your Camo Cloak hides you and the squad member for 5 seconds without spending a charge. This perk sucks. Never pick this one up. It's pretty self-explanatory. A 5-second Camo Cloak on like a revive barely happens in your game, and usually you don't have to hide after reviving somebody because you're already hidden on your Camo Cloak, so I would definitely skip over. Next perk here is the first range attack that breaks Camo Cloak, deals 75% more damage with targeted shot. This is a god tier perk for a lot of the ranged weapon builds, and also has a lingering effect that allows you to take full advantage of this damage buff with perk effects, or excuse me, weapon effects like the heroic heavy bolt rifle, or excuse me, not the heavy bolt rifle, the heroic instigator bolt carbine that has a 5-round burst. You will actually get the full damage of that 75% range damage buff on this weapon here, so really good for that. And the next perk down here is Tactical Ambush. The first melee attack that breaks Camo Cloak deals 150% more damage, and this perk with weapons like the Power Gladius that can give you upwards of a 360% damage buff takes your damage on a melee hit to the moon, and you can damn near like chunk over 75% of the HP on a boss, or one-shot them with an Auspex skin. So really good option and one of the best in the game. Next perk here is Persistence. When Camo Cloak deactivates, you take 20% less health damage, do not lose control from heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is one of the only places of no knockback on the sniper class at all, so really strong for that, and a 20% health damage reduction is quite chunky, especially if you combine this with the perk down here, Conviction, for another 25%, which would come out to like a 45% damage reduction, which is very strong on the sniper, because sniper actually has the lowest HP total tied with Tech Marine, and because of that, having this damage reduction just makes you way tankier than this guy can actually be. So a really good option. Next perk here is Lingering Concealment. After performing an attack that breaks Camo Cloak, you remain hidden for 2 seconds. Now this perk just makes your Camo Cloak have a ton of utility, because your Camo Cloak cooldown will start the moment you break it, and this will trigger immediately while your Camo Cloak is cooling down. And because of that base cooldown of 90 seconds that got buffed up on the sniper class a little while ago, you can actually get your Camo Cloak back like almost instantaneously when this runs out, So really good for that and much stronger than it was before, because previously you had to perform like some advanced attack with Camo Cloak cancel and stuff like that. Next perk here is Ambush. When your Camo Cloak deactivates, it startles and slows down nearby enemies for 10 seconds. They will temporarily lose control or get knocked back. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is shit. I'm just gonna say it right now. This perk is garbage. I have never found a good use case scenario for this ever. It has always been better to take these two, so hopefully they buff this up one day, but for now, don't take this, like, just joking around. Next perk here is Evasion. After a perfect time dodge, Camo Cloak automatically activates without spending a charge for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 30 seconds. This perk is pretty good for getting free damage off on a Power Gladius with Tactical Ambush, because any perfect dodge like this that gives you that extra Power Gladius charge, because if you're unaware, the Power Gladius will give you an additional 120% damage every single perfect dodge up to 3 times. And because of that, you just go Cloak, get this damage buff off from the Cloak here with Tactical Ambush, and also get that extra damage from the Power Gladius. So a really good synergy there. I do like the Evasion Sniper quite a bit, but the bigger issue I have with this one is that you're giving up the God tier perk we'll get into in a second with Power of Excellence, but still a pretty good option. Next perk here is Emergency Override. When you receive lethal damage, Camo Cloak automatically activates without spending a charge, and you become invulnerable for 5 seconds. The cooldown is 180 seconds. This perk is not god-awful, it's just the other two are way better in my opinion. I mean, not dying is pretty cool. We do like that in Space Marine 2. But also, there are a ton of other things that help you not die, like Persistence, like Purification, like Emperor's Grace we'll get into later. And because of that, this perk kind of gets power crept, and you're also giving up a ton with Evasion and Power of Excellence. Now the next perk here is Power of Excellence. Performing 3 consecutive headshots restores your equipment charge by 1. The cooldown is 30 seconds. This is just a god tier perk effect. A 30-second Melt-A-Bomb, Shock Nade, Crack Grenade, or Frag is just incredible in Space Marine 2. If you shoot them with like a Heroic Bolt Pistol or a Heroic Instigator Carbine, even if they're blocking, you will get the 3 consecutive headshots on a Tyranid Warrior as long as that shot actually lands on their head. And because of that, a 30-second Melt-A-Bomb loop is like the premier horde clear on the sniper class in general. So a really powerful option. I pretty much always pick this one up, and when I'm not, I'm picking up Evasion. That's pretty much all there is for the Sniper perk tree. Now for the Sniper Prestige perk tree, the Sniper might have the best perk tree in terms of variety of all the classes in Space Marine 2 currently, and mainly because there is not a single bad perk in this entire Prestige perk tree. It's kind of hilarious how good some of these actually are in comparison to other trees. We'll be going through them all here today, starting off with the perk Emperor's Grace. When Camo Cloak activates, you become invulnerable to damage for 2 seconds. Now, invulnerability in Space Marine 2 is the ultimate form of no knockback on top of taking no damage. Any attack that goes... When Camo Cloak activates, you become invulnerable to damage for 2 seconds. This is one of the best utility perks in the entire game, because invulnerability in this game will not only make you immune to damage, but also immune to knockback and stagger effects. So being able to just hit one button, go into Cloak, be immune for 2 seconds has a ton of options for you, like Camo Cloak canceling, using lingering concealment and stuff like that. And also in the patch 12.2 hotfix, it did buff up the Sniper base cooldown to be a 90-second cooldown on its Camo Cloak from 125 seconds, so it's actually stronger than ever. Pretty much always pick up this perk, because being able to hit one button and just survive a boss nuke is incredible. Top tier effect. Next perk here is Versatile Precision. Performing a kill with your secondary weapon restores 15% of your primary weapon's ammo. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This pretty much solves the ammo economy for pretty much any build on the Sniper in the game, with one caveat, and that is the Heroic Bolt Sniper. The Heroic Bolt Sniper will not get ammo back at all from pretty much any ammo perk outside of its Heroic perk effect, so just keep that in mind. But for all the other guns in the game, Versatile Precision is a top tier effect that I pretty much take all the time. Next perk here is Material Upgrade. Equipment damage radius is increased by 15%. Now, a radius increase on your equipment damage is far better than a damage increase, because usually a Melt-A-Bomb already one-shots like everybody in the game, so having a better radius on that is just super potent for you. You also have an incredible Power of Excellence perk here for equipment regen anyways, so really good synergy on this class, and even Shock Nades and Frags will benefit from this, so if you want to pick this up, you definitely can for like an equipment-focused build. Next perk here is Versatility. After switching weapons, your secondary weapon deals 20% more damage. The effect lasts until reloading or switching back to your primary weapon. In my opinion, this is currently the weakest prestige perk option that the sniper has. It's not a bad perk by any means, but the weapons he has don't really benefit from like a super high magazine capacity anyways, outside like maybe the heavy bolt pistol and some of the bolt pistol options. But even then, a 20% buff here is just not as substantial as other perk buffs like Exacting Focus, Indomitable Spirit, or Emperor's Grace, so I usually skip over this one. Next perk here is Indomitable Spirit. While performing a gun strike, you do not lose control of heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This perk is one of the only forms of no knockback the sniper can get outside the perk on his perk tree persistence, so a pretty good to keep yourself from getting staggered, though I will say the sniper doesn't really suffer from being staggered as much as other classes because he's pretty good at dipping out of combat with the Camo Cloak, but this one's still a very strong effect like other classes as well. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you will take 25% less health damage for 15 seconds. This is the best form of Conviction in the game. All the other variants have a 10-second uptime. This one is 15 seconds. And a 25% health damage reduction in Space Marine 2 will make you substantially tankier, and the Sniper class and Tech Marine are tied for the lowest HP total in the entire game, so I would definitely grab this one. It will make you significantly tankier in this game, so really a top tier effect I put on every single build. Next perk here is Exacting Focus. After a gun strike, you deal 20% more range damage for 10 seconds. This will trigger off of any gun strike in the game. Doesn't matter if it's from like a Majoris, Extremis, or anything like that, or even just like a Minoris Hormigaunt. You will just get a 20% buff for 10 seconds. That's a very substantial range damage increase, so I do put this on a lot of builds. That's also much easier to pull off these days as well, thanks to the perk effect on Argent Edge that will stagger any enemy on the first parry no matter what for a gun strike. So really good synergy there as well. And that's pretty much all there is for prestige perk tree on the sniper class. And that is pretty much everything for the sniper class in Space Marine 2. This class was underrated for a very long time, but there is very little this class cannot do, and even the areas he does struggle in, like horde clear, he has options to somewhat mitigate for himself, or your teammates will simply fill that niche for you. But if you like content like this, subscribe for more. If you want to catch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or where I live stream on Twitch with a link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always guys, thank you for watching, take it easy, bye.